Airports are strange places. Thousands of people rushing, waiting, sleeping, stressing, all in the same giant building. But tonight, Los Angeles International Airport felt different. A heavy storm had grounded half the flights, and travelers were scattered everywhere like pieces of a broken puzzle. Steven Seagal walked quietly through the terminal, his black hoodie pulled low over his face, a cap covering most of his recognizable features. He had taken this flight without alerting anyone. No manager, no assistant, no entourage. He didn't want attention tonight. He just wanted to get home. But fate had other plans. A loud announcement echoed through the terminal. Attention passengers. Flight 278 to Washington, D.C. has been delayed 4 more hours due to severe weather conditions. Groans filled the airport. Some people complained. Some cursed. Some dropped to the floor in frustration. Steven didn't react. He simply exhaled and looked around for a quiet place to rest. The VIP lounge was full, and every restaurant had lines stretching out the door. So he made his way to an isolated corner of Terminal C, where a long metal bench sat under the dim glow of flickering lights. He lowered himself slowly, stretching his legs, relaxing his shoulders. For once he felt anonymous, invisible, just another stranded passenger. But it didn't last long. A woman approached, late 30s, calm eyes, posture too straight for a normal traveler. She wore jeans and a simple jacket, but nothing about her seemed casual. She scanned the area with the precision of someone trained to notice details others miss. Then she sat down right beside him. Not a seat away. Not across from him. Right next to him. Steven glanced sideways. She wasn't on her phone, wasn't eating, wasn't reading. She was just sitting, silent, still, watching the terminal. He sensed something immediately. Years of martial arts and film work had sharpened his instincts. And right now those instincts whispered, "She's not here by accident." Still, he leaned back, arms crossed, pretending to rest his eyes. Maybe she'd move. Maybe she'd lose interest. But she didn't. If anything, she shifted slightly closer, like she was listening for something. Waiting for him to fall asleep. Steven had no idea who she was. But what he didn't know was even more shocking. She wasn't just a traveler. She wasn't even alone. She was here for him. What Steven noticed next would change everything. The air inside the terminal shifted, not physically but in energy, in tension, in the silent ripples of danger that only trained instincts could detect. Steven Seagal sat forward slowly, elbows resting on his knees, eyes narrowing as the woman beside him scanned the crowd with razor-sharp focus. She was no ordinary passenger, and he had already sensed that long before she admitted she was FBI. But now her calm expression had finally cracked. She was worried. "Where?" Steven asked quietly. She didn't look at him. "South Entrance," she whispered. "Black coat. Gray backpack." Steven's eyes flicked toward the reflection in the window again. Just shadows. Too many people. Too much movement. And then, there he was. The man from Tokyo stepped into the terminal aisle, walking casually but with a purpose, like someone who knew exactly where he was going and exactly what he was looking for. His hood was still up, partially covering his face. His hands remained hidden in his pockets, a detail that bothered Steven more than anything else. "Is he armed?" Steven asked. "We don't know," she replied. "That's comforting," Steven muttered. Her jaw tightened. "We tracked his messages before they disappeared. He's communicating through encrypted channels usually used by off-grid military contractors." Steven raised an eyebrow. "Mercenaries?" "Worse," she said. "Ghost operatives, people who technically don't exist." The man kept walking, weaving through the crowd with the effortless calm of someone who had been trained to blend in. Only someone like Steven, someone who had lived in the shadows of intelligence circles, would notice the small details. The way the man scanned reflections instead of faces. The way he kept his left side angled away from people, as if guarding something. The way he walked with a center-balanced posture, prepared for sudden movement. This wasn't a fan. This wasn't a stalker. This was a professional. And he was getting closer. Steven looked at the agent. "You want me to play along?" She shook her head. "Absolutely not. Stay seated. Backup is on the way." Steven chuckled. "You don't know me very well." The agent's voice hardened. "If you move, you could compromise the operation." "If I don't move," Steven replied calmly, "you might need a new operation." But even as he spoke, Steven forced himself to remain still. He wasn't reckless and he wasn't stupid. He needed to understand what this man wanted, and why he had been following him from Tokyo to Washington. The man slowed his pace, pretending to look at a departure screen. He was now only 20 feet away. The agent's hand slid subtly into her jacket, toward her badge? Her weapon? Stephen couldn't tell. What exactly is he after? Stephen asked under his breath. The agent kept her eyes forward. You. Why? We don't know yet. Stephen exhaled slowly. You're lying, he whispered. She swallowed. That was the only confirmation Stephen needed. But before he could press her further, the man from Tokyo abruptly turned his head, directly toward them. His eyes locked onto Stephen's. Not curiosity. Not surprise. Recognition. The kind of stare that said, I finally found you. The agent whispered sharply, don't move. But movement was already erupting around them. Two of the agent's undercover colleagues sat up straighter. One lowered her coffee cup. The man with the newspaper dropped it to the floor. A small team was mobilizing. The man from Tokyo reached behind him. The woman beside Stephen tensed, ready to stand. But Stephen grabbed her wrist gently. Not yet, he murmured. The man withdrew something from his jacket. Fast. The agents flinched. But it wasn't a weapon. It was a phone. He raised it and pointed the camera lens directly at Stephen. Click. One picture. Another. Click. Click. The agents moved at once. FBI. Hands where we can see them, one shouted. Passengers gasped. People stumbled back. Phones whipped into the air as crowds began recording. The man from Tokyo didn't run. He didn't raise his hands. He simply pocketed his phone and stared at Stephen with a strange calm, almost admiration. Then he mouthed something silently across the distance. 2 words. Stephen read them clearly. You're next. Before the agents could reach him, the man stepped backward into the crowd, and vanished. Just slipped between bodies, disappeared behind a moving group of passengers and was gone. The FBI agents burst past Stephen, shouting commands, scanning the area. Panic spread through the terminal like wildfire. The woman beside him stood, furious and breathless. He was right there. How the hell did he disappear? Stephen remained still, exhaling deeply. That wasn't an escape, he said quietly. She turned to him. Then what was it? A message. He glanced at the reflection in the window again. And he delivered it. If someone followed you across countries watching every move you made, what would you do? Stay calm or fight back? Comment your answer below. The terminal slowly settled, though tension still hung heavy in the air. Agents spread out in every direction, questioning passengers, reviewing security feeds, trying to trace the shadow of a man who slipped between bodies like smoke. The storm outside continued hammering the runway, imprisoning everyone inside the airport. Thunder rumbled, matching the unsettled heaviness in Stephen's chest. The FBI woman, who still hadn't given him her name, stood a few feet away, arguing with another agent. He was right there, she snapped. He took photos of Seagal at close range. That's intent. That's pre-operational behavior. You should have blocked the south aisle. The other agent shot back. We didn't expect him to be that trained. Nobody moves like that unless... Unless what? Stephen interrupted, rising to his feet. Both agents turned sharply. Unless, the man said reluctantly, he has specialized military training. And I'm guessing you're not talking about regular military, Stephen replied. The woman exhaled through her nose. We need to talk. Privately. She motioned for him to follow. Stephen glanced around the terminal, at the watching crowd, the shocked passengers, the mess of scattered newspapers and spilled coffee. The calm he wore on his face wasn't real. Inside he felt the storm tightening. He followed her toward an empty gate area cordoned off with yellow tape. Another agent scanned the perimeter. A fourth stood guard near the jet bridge door. They weren't protecting him. They were containing him. The woman gestured for Stephen to sit. You didn't? I prefer standing. She nodded, probably expected it. Fine, she said. Then listen. She opened a black folder. A very thin one. Not a full case file. More like a summary someone had thrown together at the last minute. Stephen frowned. What's that? She hesitated. A file we weren't supposed to show you. Stephen felt the muscles in his jaw tighten. He didn't like secrets. He liked half-secrets even less. Go on, he said. She pulled out a printed photo, the same man from Tokyo, captured in grainy stills. But this time, the image included data on the side. Timestamps, location grids, a blurred signature of a foreign intelligence agency. We've been tracking this ghost operative for 3 months, she said. No ID. No fingerprints. The only thing we know is what we see here. Stephen studied the image. The man's eyes. The posture. The precision. This wasn't a stalker. This wasn't a hired hitman. This was someone on a mission. Why me? Stephen asked slowly. She looked at him, and for the first time since this encounter began, she seemed unsure, genuinely unsure. We believe, she said carefully, that you came into contact with something, or someone, during your time in Tokyo. Something this operative wants. Or someone thinks I did, Stephen said. She nodded. That's also possible. Stephen sighed. He had spent years around law enforcement, intelligence, military circles, private contractors. Just enough to understand how these things worked. Your file is incomplete, he said. She blinked, surprised. How do you know? He tapped the folder. Because if you really believed this guy was after me, you'd have thicker paperwork, and more agents. She clenched her jaw. He was right. Before she could respond, another agent rushed in. We pulled footage, he said, breathless. You need to see this. He opened a laptop and spun it toward them. On the screen, a video played, airport security footage from Tokyo. Stephen saw himself walking through the international terminal. Behind him, the ghost operative followed. But then something else appeared. A second man. No hood. Face visible. Wearing a casual suit. He wasn't following Stephen. He was following the ghost operative. Who's that? Stephen asked. The agent shook his head. No idea. He isn't in any database. The video played again. Stephen slowed it with his finger. In one frame, only one, the suited man looked directly at Stephen through the crowd. His expression wasn't hostile. It wasn't threatening. It was a warning. The woman beside Stephen whispered. He knew something. He was trying to signal you. Stephen folded his arms. How long have you known there were two? About 6 minutes, the agent replied. And you dragged me over here with a half-baked file and no answers? We're trying, she said sharply. This is unfolding in real time. But one thing is clear, whatever is happening started before you left Tokyo. Thunder boomed. The lights flickered. Wind howled against the massive windows. Stephen stared at the paused image of the suited man. Something stirred in his memory, faint, distant, buried. But it was there. Do you recognize him? The agent asked. Stephen didn't answer. Because he wasn't sure. Not yet. The woman leaned closer. Stephen, be honest. Is there anything you haven't told us? Stephen looked from one agent to the other. Then back at the screen. And finally he said the one thing that made all their faces go pale. I think I've seen him before. For several long seconds, the FBI agent stared at Stephen as if he had dropped a bomb right between them. You've seen him before? The woman asked, voice tight with urgency. Where? How? Stephen didn't answer immediately. He kept staring at the frozen frame, the suited man mid-stride, face turned toward the camera, expression carved with purpose. I don't know his name, Stephen finally said. But I've seen him, somewhere I shouldn't have. The woman stepped closer. Meaning? Stephen rubbed the side of his jaw. Meaning the last time I saw a guy like him, I was doing security consulting for a private defense contractor. That was years ago. The male agent frowned. What kind of contractor? Stephen shot him a look. The kind that doesn't put their name on company buildings. Silence fell. The woman folded her arms. Stephen, if this is connected to a classified operation, you need to tell us now. Stephen shook his head. No. If it were classified, I wouldn't even remember seeing him. This feels different. The male agent exhaled sharply. Sir, with all due respect, a trained operative followed you across continents. Another one, unidentified, tracked him. And both intersected around you. Something happened in Tokyo. Something you aren't telling us. Stephen sighed. He hated secrets, especially his own. Look, he said slowly, my trip to Tokyo wasn't just martial arts seminars. Someone asked to meet me privately. Someone important. He gave me something to deliver. Both agents stiffened. What? The woman demanded. Stephen hesitated. I didn't think it was serious, he said. The man was a senior member of a tech consortium. Big money. Big connections. He said he was being watched and that he didn't trust digital transfers. The agent's eyes widened. What did he give you? A small package, Stephen said. Sealed. No markings. He said it was a prototype microdrive containing research papers. Research on what? The agent asked. Stephen shook his head. He didn't tell me. The woman stepped back. Where's the package now? In my luggage, Stephen replied. The agents exchanged a horrified look. The woman grabbed her radio. Control, I need immediate access to Seagal's checked bag. Priority 1. Now. Static crackled in response. Affirmative. Stand by. Stephen crossed his arms. I told you, he said. I didn't think it was serious. Stephen, she said, that microdrive may be what everyone is after. He frowned. You think it's valuable? She stared at him. Enough to start an international chase? Enough to send ghost operatives after you? Enough for someone to track your movements across 2 countries? Her voice hardened. Yeah, I think it's valuable. Before Stephen could respond, 2 TSA officers entered with a rolling cart, his luggage placed on top, still wrapped with scanning stickers. The woman stepped forward. Unlock it. Stephen crouched, unzipped the case and flipped it open. Clothes, training gear, a few souvenirs. And then, the package. Small, black, sealed with a metallic strip. Exactly as he'd received it. The moment the agents saw it, their faces drained. That's not a normal microdrive, the male agent whispered. Stephen frowned. What do you mean? The woman reached for it, but before her fingers touched the package, she froze. Don't, Stephen warned. She glanced at him. Why not? Because the guy who gave it to me said it was sensitive. Physical shock could corrupt it. The male agent muttered, or trigger it. The woman cursed under her breath. All right, she said, step back. Stephen moved aside. She put on gloves, lifted the package carefully and examined its edges. There were no labels, no instructions, just a sleek, encrypted seal common in high-tier intelligence technology. Jesus, the male agent murmured. This looks like an L0 containment seal. Stephen stared. That's bad? The woman shot him a sharp look. That's very bad. She carefully placed the package onto the table. Stephen, she said, you've been carrying something extremely classified. Something the Tokyo contact had no business giving you. I didn't know, he said firmly. We believe you, she replied. But the people tracking you? They won't care. Before anyone could say another word, the radio on her shoulder crackled again. Agent Reyes, we have a situation. She pressed the radio. Go ahead. Security cameras on level C just picked up the man from Tokyo. Stephen stiffened. And he's not alone. Reyes's eyes widened. Who's with him? Static, then the voice returned. A woman. Dark jacket. Same build as the second unidentified operative. They're moving in formation. Stephen felt it in his bones. Trouble was coming, fast. The radio crackled again. And Agent Reyes, they're heading toward your location. Reyes snapped into action. Lock down this terminal. Move all civilians back. No one in, no one out. Agents sprinted into position. Stephen looked at the package, then at Reyes. What do they want? He asked. She met his eyes with a seriousness that made his pulse tighten. They want what's in that package, she said. And they'll kill anyone who gets in the way. Thunder crashed so loud the windows shook. The lights flickered. And then, the sound everyone feared. Boots approaching. Steady. Purposeful. Getting closer. Stephen clenched his fists. Looks like we're out of time. The airport lights dimmed for a brief second, flickered, then stabilized, but the atmosphere inside the terminal had already changed. Every agent in sight had their hand near a concealed weapon. Civilians were being ushered behind security lines. TSA rolled out barriers, forming a protective semicircle around Stephen, Agent Reyes, the package, and the command post. Boots echoed again. Closer. Steady. Come. Reyes leaned toward Stephen, whispering sharply, when they come in, stay behind me. Stephen smirked. That's cute. I'm serious, she hissed. You're the target. You standing out in the open makes this 10 times harder. Reyes, Stephen said quietly, I've been in more standoffs than you've been in staff meetings. Before she could snap back, the terminal entrance slid open with a sharp mechanical hiss. A gust of cold air blew in. And then they appeared. First, the man from Tokyo. Same black coat. Same emotionless expression. Same predator-like focus. But now he wasn't alone. Beside him walked the woman, the second operative, cold eyes, dark jacket, walking in perfect sync with him. Their movements were eerily coordinated, like 2 parts of the same machine. Stephen's instinct screamed. These aren't hired guns. These are trained operatives from the same unit. Reyes raised her voice. FBI. Hands where we can see them. The man did not raise his hands. Neither did the woman. Instead, they stopped 20 feet away, just far enough that no agent could risk a shot without endangering civilians. The man spoke first. Steven Seagal, he said, voice low, controlled, almost respectful. You have something that belongs to us. Reyes stepped forward. You don't get to talk to him. You don't get anything. Drop whatever weapon you're holding and get on the ground. But the operatives didn't move. The woman spoke next, her voice unnervingly calm. We are not here to hurt civilians. We are here for the package. Hand it over and we walk away. Steven stepped forward. Reyes grabbed his arm. Don't. He gently pulled free. I want answers, Steven said. The Japanese man studied him. You don't know what you're carrying. I know enough, Steven replied. A man in Tokyo gave it to me. Wanted me to deliver it. The woman shook her head slowly. He lied to you. Steven frowned. How? The Tokyo operative raised his chin. The man who handed you that package was not part of the tech consortium. Reyes stiffened. Then who was he? A defector, the woman said. A scientist who stole a prototype from a classified research program. Steven's eyes narrowed. What kind of prototype? The man took one step forward, and every FBI agent raised their weapons instantly. He stopped. It's not a microdrive, he said. It's a biometric key. Steven inhaled sharply. A key to what? A vault, the woman answered. A vault holding something too dangerous to exist. Reyes snapped. You expect us to believe that? You don't have to, the man replied. But if you do not hand it over, more teams will come. Stronger teams. Teams that won't negotiate. Reyes raised her weapon higher. Last warning. The Tokyo operative cut her off. We know a second operative has been following us, he said. Another player in this. He is not with us. He is not with you. He is something else. Steven felt the hair rise on the back of his neck. The suited man from the footage. Reyes exchanged a worried glance with her team. Why should we trust anything you're saying? The woman's answer was chilling. Because if you don't, the third player will get to that key before anyone here can stop him. Steven, despite the chaos, remained still. Why me? He asked quietly. Why follow me across Tokyo? Across countries? Why not take it from the scientist directly? For the first time the man hesitated. Then he answered. Because the scientist trusted you. Steven stared. He didn't even know me. He knew your reputation, the woman said. He knew you were one of the few people who would not open the package. He needed someone honorable enough to carry it without questions. Reyes muttered, This is insane. The woman continued. The vault is dangerous. It holds a technology that could destabilize entire nations. We are here to secure it before it reaches the wrong hands. Steven exhaled slowly. So I'm stuck in the middle of a war I didn't know existed. The man nodded. Yes. And then, the lights flickered again. But this time they didn't come back on. Darkness swallowed the terminal. Civilians screamed. Agents shouted. Guns were drawn. Chaos erupted. In the pitch black, Steven heard the Tokyo operative whisper. He's here. A chill ran through Steven's spine. The third operative. The unseen player. The one who watched from the shadows. A faint click sounded behind them. Reyes grabbed Steven's arm again. Move, she shouted. But before they could take a single step, a calm voice spoke from the darkness. Right behind Steven. You all talk too much. If you were Steven and two secret operatives and a third unknown assassin were all after the same package, who would you trust? Comment below. Darkness swallowed the terminal so completely that Steven couldn't see his own hands. The air filled with panic, civilians shouting, agents yelling commands, chairs being knocked over. But beneath the chaos was something far more dangerous. Silence. The kind of silence that only comes from a predator moving in the dark. The voice behind Steven, calm, cold, razor-sharp, repeated, You all talk too much. Reyes tightened her grip on Steven's arm. Don't move, she whispered. A flashlight beam sliced across the space as an agent tried to illuminate the area, but the light flickered and died instantly, like something had shorted it out. The third operative spoke again, closer. His voice felt like it was brushing Steven's shoulder. You're carrying something none of them know how to handle. Steven shifted his stance slowly, grounding himself. And you do. Yes, the voice whispered. Because I helped design it. A bolt of shock ran through Reyes. What? Who are you? The man chuckled, a low, unsettling sound. No names. Not anymore. Another agent fired up a backup lantern, a faint glow barely enough to see shapes. In that ghostly half-light, Steven caught a shadowy outline standing behind the check-in counter. Not moving. just watching. The Tokyo operative stood several paces ahead, silhouettes tense, waiting, listening. The woman spoke first. "You're a traitor." "No," the shadow replied. "I'm a realist." Stephen stepped slightly in front of Reyes. "Why follow me?" The shadow tilted its head. "Because I knew they would follow you. And because the key was safer with a civilian than with any government." Reyes frowned in confusion. "You're saying you wanted Stephen to have it?" "Yes," the man said. "Because he's predictable. Honest. You can track an honest man." Stephen stiffened. "You put me at risk to flush them out." "Yes." "Why?" The shadow slowly stepped out from behind the counter, entering the faint lantern glow. Stephen finally saw his face. The man from the footage. The suited figure who had been following the Tokyo operatives, not Stephen. Sharp jawline. Tired eyes. Hair slightly disheveled like he hadn't slept in days. Reyes raised her weapon instantly. "Don't move." He raised his hands slowly, not in surrender, but in calm defiance. "You can point guns at me all you want. It won't change what's inside the package." Stephen felt his pulse rise. "Then tell me, what's in it?" The man's gaze settled on him, heavy, tired, regretful. "It's a biometric trigger," he said, "for a weapon system your scientist friend developed. Something he built under the table. Something no nation should ever have had access to." The Tokyo woman snapped. "We were sent to retrieve it for containment." "And I was sent," the shadow replied, "to destroy it." Reyes stared. "Destroy? Why not lock it up?" The man shook his head slowly. "Because someone always finds the key." Silence. Thunder rumbled outside, shaking the glass. The backup generator finally kicked in, flooding the terminal with dim emergency lights that flickered overhead. Now everyone could see everyone. The Tokyo operatives. Reyes and her team. Stephen. And the third man, no longer hiding. He looked straight at Stephen. "Give me the package." Reyes immediately stepped between them. "Over my dead body." "That can be arranged," the man replied calmly. The Tokyo operative stepped forward. "You are outnumbered." "No," the man corrected. "I'm outmatched." "Not outnumbered." Stephen lifted his hands slightly, trying to keep all sides from snapping. Everyone slowed down. "Nobody's dying in an airport tonight." The shadow's eyes flicked to Stephen. "You think that package is just a key? That device activates a failsafe built into a hidden weapons lab in Hokkaido. The scientist who gave it to you was trying to save himself. He knew I was coming." Stephen frowned. "What's inside the lab?" The man hesitated, then said two words that froze everyone. "Viral prototype." Reyes inhaled sharply. "Like?" "Yes," the man cut in. "A weaponized strain." The Tokyo woman whispered, horrified, "That wasn't in our file." "Of course not," the man replied. "Your agency didn't know." "No one did." Stephen stepped closer. "And the key? What does it do?" "It unlocks the door," the man said, "and triggers the auto-release sequence." Reyes blinked hard. "Release?" "Meaning," the man continued, "that if the wrong person opens the vault, the virus disperses." The room fell silent. Stephen looked at the Tokyo team. "You were going to take it and deliver it back to your agency?" They exchanged a tense glance. "Our orders were containment," the woman said. The shadow shook his head. "You think your agency wants to destroy it? They want to control it." Reyes gritted her teeth. "You're saying nobody can be trusted with this thing?" "Nobody," the man affirmed. "Not governments. Not agencies. Not corporations." He extended his hand towards Stephen. "This ends now. Give me the package and I'll destroy it before anyone ever uses it." The Tokyo operative spoke sharply. "You destroy that key without authorization and you trigger an international crisis." "It's already a crisis," the man replied. Everyone looked at Stephen. Every gun, every eye, every intention, all pointed toward him. Reyes whispered urgently, "Stephen, think carefully." The Tokyo woman pleaded, "Please? Hand it to us. We can contain it." The shadow said softly, "Or hand it to me, and no one ever suffers from this weapon again." Stephen closed his eyes for a moment. He imagined the scientist's desperate eyes. The operatives hunting him across continents. The shadow's warnings. Reyes risking her life. The cities and lives that could be destroyed if the wrong decision was made. Then he looked at the package sitting on the table. Small. Silent. Powerful enough to start a war. Stephen picked it up slowly. The entire terminal tensed. He weighed it in his hand. "What's the point of all this?" Stephen asked quietly. "Power? Control? Fear? No one answered. So Stephen answered his own question. None of you get to decide. Before anyone could react. Before a weapon could rise. Before a shout could form. Stephen slammed the package against the steel edge of the table. It cracked open with a sharp metallic snap. No. 3 voices screamed at once. A flash of blinding white light. Then silence. When the smoke cleared, the table lay dented. The package broken. The biometric core crushed beyond recognition. The Tokyo operative stared in stunned horror. The shadow stared in shock, but also relief. Reyes stared like she couldn't believe what she just saw. Stephen exhaled. It's over. The shadow lowered his head. Maybe you're the only one who could have done that. The Tokyo operative turned away, defeated. Their mission failed, but catastrophe avoided. Reyes stepped beside Stephen, whispering, "You know this goes viral tonight, right?" Stephen cracked a small smile. "I figured. If you believe the world needs more courage and fewer secrets, type respect in the comments, and subscribe for more unbelievable true story style videos like this one."